Free Japan Channel number 57. Today, January 22nd, 2025. The time is 7 p.m. Good evening, everybody. The night sky is now spreading, and Yokohama's city lights are shining tonight. It's so beautiful scenery as usual. How are you doing this evening? This is Matsumoto speaking. Today's FGC topic is February 26th incident, Japanese history. Have you ever heard of the incident, February 26th incident? Perhaps if you study the Japanese modern history, you heard that incident somewhere. It occurred in 1936, namely February 26 in Tokyo. This year in Tokyo, it snowed so heavily. Usually it snows little in Tokyo. However, it snowed so heavily, and young soldiers, roughly 1,500 soldiers, were running in the center of Tokyo at that time. February 26th incident is, in a sense, a coup d'etat in Japanese history. In Japanese history, there are not so many coup d'etat incidents. However, in the modern history, this February 26th incident was the coup d'etat. Coup d'etat is the action to turn over the government or turn over the regime. And the ringleaders of this incident were all young, high-ranking officials of Japanese army at that time. Young, high-ranking officials. And they were so indignant at the corruption of political party system at that time. In the 1920s and 1930s, Japanese history is described as something like political party system era. At that time, two big parties, alternately governed the state. One was the Constitutional Friendship Party. Constitutional Friendship Party is one party, and the other was Constitutional Democratic Party. These two parties were reigning Japan at that time. However, the politicians of both parties were so notorious to be moved or to be dominated by some personal profit, money, or some status, or women. And the young soldiers in 1936 stood up to this corrupted political party system. They saw these politicians, corrupted politicians, should be eliminated forcibly from the government. Therefore, these young officials, so ringleaders, ordered their subordinate soldiers to kill many leading persons at that time. For example, Korekiyo Takahashi, the very famous financial minister, was killed. And Makoto Saito, who was the ex-prime minister, was also killed. in the incident. And other top persons in the government as well as in the army were shot by the soldiers. 1,500 people approximately were involved in this incident. And they were motivated to enable Japanese government to be ruled by the emperor, Showa emperor himself. Therefore, these soldiers wanted Showa emperor to rule by himself, not political leaders of parties. However, in Japan, there was already the rule that the monarch here in Japan, the emperor, only reign but not rule. It means the emperor didn't have any substantial political power. The emperor had only symbolic meaning or symbolic authority at the time already. Therefore, Showa emperor could not approve of this request from the young soldiers, so ringleaders of February 26 incident, that the emperor himself should rule the state. Showa emperor received the education that the emperor was merely a symbol. Therefore, the emperor shouldn't have any political power. However, these young soldiers, high-ranking officials, requested that the emperor himself should govern the state. So it was the opposite idea of the education that Showa emperor received. The emperor was so furious at this coup d'etat because his subjects or his immediate subordinates, so financial minister or former prime minister or high-ranking army official, was shot. Therefore, the emperor immediately ordered to oppress this uprising of army officials. So, from the viewpoint of young army officials who wanted the emperor to approve of their action, was so disappointed to know that the emperor was very indignant at their attempt. And the emperor ordered that these soldiers should return to the original position or original troops. So incident should be disbanded. Therefore, only 4 days were this incident. This incident continued only 4 days. In 1936, February had 29 days. Therefore, from 26th to 29th, then this incident was over. And the ringleaders were all executed by the military trial. There were so many other high-ranking officials, not young officials, however, high-ranking officials, really high-ranking officials, therefore generals or major or lieutenant were involved in this incident, as a matter of fact. And Showa emperor ordered that those involved in this incident should be excluded from the important position as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. This incident showed that the emperor didn't and couldn't dominate the state, and the power of army who could change the course of policy was so obvious that nobody could say something about the army and navy. So this incident, February 26th incident, triggered the militarism in Japan in 1936. Therefore, 5 years later, Pearl Harbor attack. This was the cause of Japanese modern history to Pacific War. Tonight's topic was Japanese modern history. Thank you.